Hey friends, it's the Johnster Monster. Thank you for joining us for episode 7 of Shadow and Flame with Magic. Today we are going to review Black Panther 2005 issue 17. So come along. Brr, 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 brr. So the plan is right now is that we're going to watch Black Panther on Sunday, tomorrow. And super excited to do it. Apparently we're getting not just the XD theater, but also in 3D, and I'm not even sure when's the last time I even saw a 3D movie. I'm pretty sure it was for one of the Narnia movies. Probably the latest one. So we're pretty excited about that. Walker apparently kept one of the glasses from last... I don't know, I guess maybe his cousin Curtis gave him a pair of glasses, but anyway, so he was trying them on, and I was like, well, let me test this out, and I don't know, pretty much just felt like I was wearing two pairs of glasses, and one just further down on my nose. So, and then we started watching the first movie, and we pretty much got to the point when Everett Ross is having his spine x-rayed, and my wife fell asleep, so I was like, okay, we'll finish this in the morning. So here we are, Black Panther 2005, issue 17, Countdown to the Wedding of the Century. I don't even have to look at the credits. I know this cover is by Joseph Michael Lesner of Dawn fame. And just a couple months ago in Great Falls, at Kelly Comics, I bought the Vampira Dawn crossover. And it really made me want to reread that Dawn trilogy, but... So I gotta add that to my short list of books to read. Also added to my book list, I really got into Cerebro, and Connor did the Cape Pride episode, and I could listen to Dr. Stephanie Burt talk about Kitty Pryde for hours. So I'm pretty happy that episode was almost 3 hours, and then the Oh Gosh, Oh Golly, Oh Wow episode she guested on was also like an hour. So I'm like, if she wants to make more episodes of Kitty Pryde, I will definitely listen to that. Put that call out there. So, inside cover is an ad for Adam Sandler's Click, out in June 23rd. Kate Beckinsale, Christopher Walken. I've heard of the movie, but never got around to watching it. I mean, I like Adam Sandberg enough, but I definitely don't watch every one of his movies. I guess he's sort of like Robin Williams, where I much prefer his more dramatic work. So, the list of people who pair those two comedians together, you add my name to that list. So, on the previously on, T'Challa and Storm of the X-Men have announced their engagement. With the wedding on the horizon, the couple seek out long-lost family members and begin preparations for their nuptials. Nuptials. Oh man, it's like one of those words that you read all the time. It's like, oh, I gotta pronounce it. Like, have I never pronounced that word? However, there's a few individuals out there that aren't too happy after not making the invite list. They have plans for this joining of man and mutant, which is a real thing. Like, they really play up that Storm's an X-Man and getting married to T'Challa. Like, I don't know if they were underestimating how popular Storm is, but it definitely feels like it's like hey kids, there's a character known as Storm, follow along. This came out in August 2006, or at least that's the cover date. On the apartment of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage is taking it upon himself to throw the bachelor party. And Jessica and Danielle, baby Danielle, come into the room like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, work, personal business. And Jessica sees right through that. And for some reason, we see in his office, he has a picture of the new Avengers. He has a picture of him and Iron Fist, which is super cute. He's giving Iron Fist the old bunny ears. Captain America, like, profile pic. A Black Panther, and like 2 pictures of him within one frame. And some redheaded lady on a motorcycle. Like, is that a poster? Yeah. And taped to that poster is something about Friday 10 a.m. And I can't figure out who what is it Friday at 10 a.m.? But something. So this is Bride of the Panther Part 4, Bachelor Party. Bride of the Panther. A little play on pride. The writers, Reginald Hudlin. Pencils, Scott Eaton. Inks, Klaus Janson. Colors, Dean White. Letters, VC's Randy Gentile. Cover, Michael Leisner. Associate editor, Corey Selmeyer. Editor, Alex Alonso. Chief, Joe Quesada. Publisher, Dan Buckley. And we get to Midtown Manhattan, and T'Challa's cousin and ambassador to Wakanda, Chisan, is throwing a press conference, and we see on the podium that the Black Panther symbol, which is in green, is above the X-Men X that's in gold, embossed. And I'm just looking at like, oh, I mean, that was 2005, but I feel like if it was current day, they would have found some fun like merging of those two symbols. But I guess you really don't want to put an X symbol on top of the Panther symbol, because then that just looks like bullseye. And that sends the wrong message. Anyway, so they're a private couple, but they're going to host a press conference. And he's like, here to discuss the upcoming wedding of T'Challa and Aurora Monroe, known to many of you as Storm of the X-Men. Despite their high public profile, they're very private people, but considering the magnitude of the events, they have graciously consented to the press conference. So people just start shouting questions like, who's the best man? Who's designing the dress? How did he propose? Can we see the ring? And T'Challa's like, oh, rings aren't typically part of the Wakanda marriage ritual. But anticipation of questions, and we see Storm's diamond, which looks pretty big, and it has a panther, head of a panther on top of it. And it's surrounded by other diamonds. And I guess I'm now thinking, like, if he had married someone within Wakanda, he probably wanted to show off a ring, but now he married an outsider. He needs to, adhere to outside customs. And so I guess they finally settled down and, sort of a softball question. And now someone's like, King T'Challa, your happy event is occurring when there's a lot of conspiracy about the proper role of superheroes in society, with Congress debating the proposed Superhuman Investigation Act. Tell us, would you ever consider Registration Act in your country? Because right now, Civil War is about to kick off. Which is like, man, this Black Panther crossover or event, ill planned, or was it? And T'Challa, very kingly, says, it's not appropriate for me to comment on the U.S. domestic policy. However, I would say I fought alongside many American superheroes. I have found almost all of them to be men and women of great courage who have put their lives and the lives of their loved ones on the line for the sake of mankind. And then I guess a follow-up question is, yes, but in your own country. And then Storm, being the queen that she is, gets in front of the microphone and says, I have faced discrimination as an African, as a woman, and as a mutant my entire life. Wakanda is not a country that wastes precious human resources on witch hunts. That's why it leads the war on both technological advances and human rights. And then everyone's just stunned, like, oh... Mostly because they're like, oh, the king said he had no comment, but Storm is full of comment. And it just really shows once again, like, how ridiculous it is that people are prejudiced against mutants. Whereas, like, oh, Spider-Man's fine. Well, poor example is many people think he's a menace because, he's always destroying property and webbing businessmen's mouths shut. But yet, well, okay, let's go Captain America. We're like, oh, he's fine because he had drugs injected into him. But, oh, you're born with your mutant power. Like, we're mad at you now. Which I get on the concept of, like, oh, yeah, they're going to replace us in, like, 20 years. And it's like, well, I guess that is scary. But, and you don't want mutants just pretending like, no, I'm not a mutant. A lab experiment went astray, and here I am. But just, I don't know. I never got racism either. It's just a concept where it's like, why are we doing this? And why still? I don't know. I mean, I'm all for the mutant metaphor, but it's just like, man, I wish we didn't need metaphors. Like, like the root problem should not be a thing. But then T'Challa quickly tries to end the press conference. Like, we hope our wedding would be a symbol of love that unites all people. And in the limousine with license plate Panther, Storm's like, I can't believe I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life. And he's like, oh, you're good at it. And she's like, oh, my comments made you feel uncomfortable, I could tell. He's like, actually, you sound like my father. And then they start making out where I'm like, man, if my wife starts sounding like my father, I don't think I'd be that turned on by all those comments. But there's nothing sexier than a man with little daddy issues. There's a double-page ad for Superman Returns, the video game. And then we get to Avengers Tower. And Logan shows up and asking him, like, why are you still here? And Luke Cage is like, oh, I'm trying to organize some phone calls that I can't do at home. And Logan's like, oh, yeah, the bachelor party. And Luke Cage shares, like, I don't even know if I'm even throwing a bachelor party. Like, T'Challa might not even want to do it. And Cage is like, I don't know if T'Challa's even going to open up to a bachelor party, let alone where a guy who, hit it with his fiance's next to him getting a lap dance. And Logan's like, whoa, like, you're a straight shooter, Cage. I like that. So let's get the record straight. One, I never, as you say, hit it. Which even 2005, like, maybe they haven't, like, I know that's an expression, but it just seems very awkward. Maybe it's because it's in print, so it's more real, but it's like, oof, I do not want to sit with that for a while. Anyways, he's like, one, I never say I hit it, wanted to, but who didn't, present company included. And Cage is quick to be like, true that. Like, oh, Cage. He's like, two, Aurora's family to me. Now T'Challa's going to be family. I like to make a gesture to break the ice. So he says that not only is he the best around and using his claws, the best there is at what I do, but the second thing he's best at is having a good time. So he offers to help Luke Cage organize the bachelor party. And then cut to the very next panel or page is T'Challa saying, absolutely not. And Cage and his cousin are just, Panther's cousin, are like, no, let's do it. And T'Challa, and I completely agree with him with this, is like, where are the Western traditions that baffle me? And this one is one of them. Why would I want to show up on my wedding day with the smell of another woman on me? Which, arguably, you don't have their bachelor party the day before the wedding, just in case something weird happens, but yeah. Like, it's ridiculous. And Cage is trying to explain, it's a ritual thing. And T'Challa stands up and says, the wedding is a ceremony to celebrate a commitment I've already made in my heart, and I am already married. Which is another thing, like, it bugs me in, like, TV show. Like, it's a total trope about people who, like, at the altar, like, the runaway bride or runaway groom. And it's just like, it just wouldn't happen outside. Like, there's so many decisions, so many opportunities to get out that at the chapel is not, or church is not the moment to do it. Like, you just, I mean, I'm sure it happens, like, like the trope's based on something, but it's just like, who, like, there's many times outs, like, just don't show up. Like, it's sort of like an affair too, where it's like, and I get the idea of affairs, but it's like, no, but by the time you actually, have sex, it's like, there was a lot of steps. Like, you take off the shirt, you take off pants, it's like, no, like, you made active choices. Each one of those is like, a minute of like, oh, I should stop this. And it's like, no, yeah, you should have stopped it. Like, it's just like, oh, it just happened all of a sudden. And it's like, no, it didn't just happen all of a sudden. Like, there was many moments where you, like, continued on. And it's, I don't know, it just bugs me. Where it's like, no, like, a lot of thought went into every one of those choices. I mean, as soon as you just put on the wedding dress, it's like, yep, we're doing this. Anyways, it's just something that always bugs me. And then the cousin says, if not for yourself, then for your friends. And T'Challa's like, if you're looking for a flimsy pretense to fondle other women, I'm sure you can find a better excuse than my wedding. And Cage is like, I hate that. I'm a grown man. How do you make me feel so immature? He's like, because you want to do a dumb bachelor party. And then we get to some of the best pages in this comic. Fifth Avenue, Manhattan. And we see Storm, Kitty, and Sue Pride. Or, Sue Pride. We see Storm, Kitty, and Sue Storm. And for Sue, for whatever reason, needs to have a Fantastic Four button up on her shirt. Where it's like, just in case some people don't know who you are. And they're all just happy, just walking around. People in the background are like, hey, it's Storm. And I feel like I was going to say something else. Oh, they discussed it on Celebra about calling her Kitty when she wants to be called Kate. And they made a great point about, once she starts calling her Kate, like in present day comics, you call her Kate. But back when she's calling herself Kitty, right, might as well call her Kitty. It's not like she was making, but, it was a great discussion about, like if it was a transition, like a gender transition, then yeah, you'll respect her wishes. But since it's more of a maturity issue, you call her what she was at the time. So that's where I'm going to go with. But I'm recognizing, like, yeah, she's Kate now. If she was doing piratey things, I'd probably say Kate as well. And I agree with her with the idea, like, yeah, back then, when you want to tell the difference from Days of Future Past Kitty and, no, Days of Future Past Kate and then present day Kitty, or then present day, that's the easiest way to go, Kate Kitty. But it's just something you do think about with older comics. But so I'm just going to call her Kitty. And if I ever read present day comics, I will call her Kate for sure. But I do need to get better about when I'm on Twitter and commenting about her. I need to start calling her Kate. Like in the present day context of it, everything. Like, yeah, I can respect that. So I need to work on that myself. And Storm's just happy with herself. I really needed this. And Kitty's like, a little retail therapy never hurt anyone. And Storm's, I just needed to get away from speeches and seating charts. And Sue's like, I don't know how you are managing a Laurel. And it's dawning on me, like, I know they, like, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men amazing miniseries, but do they know Storm all that well? No, I'm sorry. Do they know Susan all that well? I think I'm confused because I keep saying Sue Storm and then there's Storm. But now I'm hearing myself talk. I'm like, oh, you know what? She's Sue Richards at this point. But maybe it's like, well, maybe I just say Susan. Because we're not best friends. Do I call her Sue? Well, I feel like she tells people to call her Sue. I don't know. I'm thinking about it way too much. A lot of big thoughts today. And Storm's like, you think that all these years of maintaining a look while fighting for your life would make something like this easy? And Susan's like, preaching to the choir. But speaking of maintaining a look, do you blow dry your own hair? Naturally. And Storm says, it's the only way I could keep it this long. And she's like, ha, I knew it. Wait till I tell Jen, She-Hulk. Which is so awkward because clearly, well, I don't know, maybe Storm and Kitty don't know She-Hulk's real name, but it feels like something they say for our benefit. And Kitty's like, Storm spills beauty secrets, cover of the next issue of O. And Storm's like, oh? Oprah's magazine. And Storm's like, no. Which I feel like Storm probably knows. Well, I guess she literally said, no. Oh, wait, she doesn't know that, but I feel like the X-Mansion probably gets People magazine, right? But who knows? People magazine has to be completely different in the Marvel Universe, right? It's just full of Simon Willems interviews and Avenger gossip columns, which would be a fun idea. Well, it's like Watchmen, how like they don't have superhero stories, like pirate stories are the most popular comics of the day, where I'm like, and you have to think about it, but it's like, oh no, that makes sense. Like, yeah, you want to tell superhero stories. And Kitty says, well, get to know it because you're about to be the most high-profile mutant in the world, and Oprah will be calling. And so they go into a store, and Susan's like, will you please lock up? Like, I'm using my force field, but it'd be nice. And the gentleman's like, good to have you back so soon, Miss Monroe. Have you reconsidered the outfit you tried on? And Storm's like, what are you talking about? I've never been in this store before. And Kitty's like, woo boy, when racial profiling goes really, really wrong. And you gotta appreciate Hudlin, like, really getting Kitty Pryde here. And Eaton, like, draws her. I think I mentioned this the previous issue. Like, she looks, older here. Like, not the 25-year-old, but maybe more like a 35-year-old or so. But still, though, she has that Kitty Pryde wavy hair, so I'm down with it. But that's Susan. Like, why is she wearing that 4 symbol? Because they didn't want to wait one whole page before she made a force field reference? I don't know. This just seems weird. Like, so she had a nice blue jeans, a white shirt, put a black vest over it, and then it was like, you know what this outfit needs? A 4 symbol. Or a 4 button. And the clerk's like, please, allow me to explain myself. I'm not a fool. Your picture's everywhere. So when a beautiful, statuesque, black, chocolate brown woman with an exotic accent comes into my store shopping for, as she said, her upcoming wedding to the Black Panther, of course I think it's you. Kitty's like, did she have this hair? How do you miss the hair? To be honest, some of my customers change their hair color every week. And Susan's like, did she pay for her purchases or ask for freebies? Cash. And the 3 ladies all put their fingers to their chins like, Which is like, did they talk about that? That they're going to make such a motion? Later, and we see T'Challa and Storm just hanging out. And Storm's like, can you imagine someone intimidating, or not intimidating, emulating me? Who do you think it is? Mistake some other doppelganger? I've noticed a wave of women of your look in fashion magazines since the wedding announcement. They all seem frightfully thin. I think I should send bags of grain to modeling agencies, because that will do it. Very funny, but seriously, don't you think we need to find the person before they do something that misrepresents us? What if she teams up with a man in a cat suit and they steal an old woman's purse? People think what they will. Don't you read what they say about us on the internet? Which I like that idea. Like, I'm a king of a nation. Like, I don't get brought down by bad press. T'Challa, are you Googling yourself? Part of my responsibilities include Google her. And she throws like magazines at T'Challa's head. And they just like, you just see like, oh yeah, they're newly in love and just having fun. Someone needs to learn a little respect for the throne. Someone wishes they could. And he's like chasing her as she jumps down from like the 2nd floor to the 1st floor. You don't think you can get away from me? She's like, well, actually, yes. And then for whatever reason, like brings out all this wind, and he just goes like flying away. And he's like, you're going to pay for, oh no, he says like from the other room, you're going to pay for this, woman. Get used to it. The mother carries the X gene, And it's like, oh. Like, okay, T'Challa, where do you go? I didn't blow you off the roof, did I? Oh, and she's wearing like a very nice gold one-piece swimsuit, which I guess isn't much different from what her X-Men costume looks like. But, gold instead of black. But it's like, oh yeah, it's just cute. Like, what was he wearing? Short sleeve collar shirt with a panther over the chest. Like instead where you would see a crocodile. And I don't know, short jean shorts? Anyways, so all of a sudden she's like, did I blow you off the roof? And then you see like the metal window goes down, like slams down. Is that you? Say something. And she gets all this lightning. And then someone comes charging at her and she like blasts him with lightning. But he full like costumed up. And like tackles her. Like, he flings her. She goes, like, feet up in the air. He catches her again, and, like, they fall on the couch. He's like, lights low. Darling, are you okay? I didn't mean to hit you with that lightning bolt. Just a love tap. You think I would be with a weather witch without an insulated suit? It's like the 2nd time he's called her weather witch, which I'm like, is that a cute name? I feel like as soon as I hear witch, I want to like wince because it sounds pretty close to another word. And also, she's not a weather witch, but maybe she likes it. The clever boy from Wakanda. And then we see Falcon with the cousin, Black Panther's cousin, which honestly, what's his name? T'Challa? Let me flip back here. I mean, he seems like an important character. I should at least respect him enough to learn his name. Oh yeah, T'Challa. Man, look at that. I did it. And Falcon's passing the message that Cap wishes he could be there. And the Bradleys did reach out to Cap. But T'Challa doesn't know about pushing back on American politics. He doesn't want to create an international incident. And then all of a sudden you hear lightning kaboom. And Falcon's like, oh, that's the second thunderclap with no rain outside. T'Challa and Storm here? I'd love to say hi. And T'Challa's like, my guess, Mr. Wilson, is that they are indisposed. And we see that they're still making out. Coming on June 20th, there's a whole Superman collection. The complete first season of Flash or Superboy. Lois and Clark seasons 1 and 2. And then seasons 1 and 2 of the Chris Reeve Superman from, I don't know, it's not the 60s, 70s? 50s? I bet it's 50s, right? Meanwhile, somewhere in Africa, is it Man-Ape? Yeah, Man-Ape's tribe is like getting very excited about how they're going to destroy Black Panther's wedding and just like really ruin the day. Like, not only does he marry someone from outside our region, but he doesn't even send me a wedding invitation. Where it's like, what is happening here? The next morning, T'Challa's up with like sending emails. Storm's trying to still sleep. She has a blanket over his head. He's asking, what do you want to do Friday night? We're invited to dinner at the White House and a party at Prince's house. If you want to do both, we could make it to LA from DC in time. And Storm's like, I have plans. He's like, plans? The girls want to take me out for a night on the town before the wedding. I agreed. So this is a bachelorette party? Who's the stripper? Eros? Which I like the idea, like, you don't want Eros. Like, he's going to change everyone's emotional states and make them susceptible to who knows what ideas he might have. So it's very telling as that guy being your example. Oh, please. I don't think Sue Richards would embarrass herself that way. Rogue would. Which I like the idea that Black Panther has an idea on her friends. And would Rogue do that? Maybe. Maybe not contact Eros, but there's plenty of attractive X-Men members who would definitely show off. Like maybe Adam the Extreme. Don't your friends have some... Oh, no, she's saying, don't your little friends have something similar planned for you? Why don't you do that Friday night? T'Challa's like, well, I guess. And they're on a Quinjet, and Luke Cage is there, T'Chall's there, some other guy, Namor's in a nice suit, some other guy, T'Challa, Logan, and Ben Grimm's there. But who's the other guy? Cousin, T'Challa, I don't know, maybe Falcon? But then who's the other one? And Luke Cage is like, I know your jaw's tight now, T'Challa, but you will not regret this. I'm already regretting this. And Logan's like, why go at it at all, T'Challa? Because you asked me to, Logan. Me? You looked out for Storm during her journey back through Africa. When I asked you to secure a package for me and bring it to safety, you did, and for that I'm grateful. So when you extended an invitation to me, I accepted. Then we just see people, like, they do a cool Venn diagram, handshake, like you do right from Predator's first movie that you see with the Venn diagram, but with fists. Ben Grimm's offering Namor some shrimp, which I don't know is insulting or not. Okay, who are these two guys? like any other comic, they'd be essentially wearing street clothes of their costumes or color schemes, but I can't place it. So they're going to Rio. Logan's saying they wish they went to Madripoor, and he could have had the whole place wired. But Luke Cage says, no disrespect to the lovely ladies of Madripoor, but for brothers, the rarity of Brazil is what it's all about. And it's like, is that what brothers like? Like, I don't know. And then the Shadow King in T'Challa's body is like, yes, surely T'Challa will find a woman there that will entrance him. And once he makes his choice, I'll use my powers to steal her body and use her body to steal his. Which I hope is Shadow King, because it reads very much like Shadow King, but maybe he has his own enemy. And so they get to the strip club, and I don't know, like it's clearly a splash page except for the top quarter of the page, but you know, they're supposed to be sexy strippers, but I don't know, they're not doing it for me. Like some weird outfits. So one lady's like, I can tell you are special even in this group. And everyone's like, it would be our pleasure to make you happy. Just choose one. Or choose several. T'Challa's immediately like, I'm out. Now, what does it mean? Party's over. Let's go home. And Luke Cage tells T'Shawn, don't be so bummed, T'Shawn. Your cousin's a happy man. Yeah, I just wanted him to have a special experience. I guess that's what the wedding's for. Or it's like, calm down, everyone. Okay, Midtown Manhattan. Storm. Oh, no. We find Princess Xanda. It's just like bossing people around in this a store. She's like, no, I said blue and shoes to match. If you please me, your store will be mentioned in every magazine in the world. My husband, the Black Panther, will look kindly upon you. And someone off panel says, aha, because I can't imagine it's Storm, but Storm's definitely the next person to start talking. Like, Princess Xanda, the Paris Hilton of Africa. So it's you that's been impersonating me. She's like, impersonating you? You flatter yourself. I just heard you say you're marrying the Black Panther. Oh, I am. You don't honestly believe he wants to be with anyone but me, do you? Once I tell T'Challa he doesn't need to settle that, I won't reject him. He'll be with his true love. And Kitty's like, what is this? An episode of Flavor of Love? I don't know. It's just so timely, but at the same time, like, all the references still make sense. I don't know. It's good writing. It's good pacing. I'm loving, like, and Susan's back, and I do not see a 4 button on her shirt. So maybe she dropped it, like she's been fully established. I like the Kitty wearing the Star of David. Like, Eaton did his homework there as well. And Storm's like, if your country spent as much on education as you do on handbags, they could produce a psychiatrist who could treat your psychoses. And Xanda says, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, street urchin. And then she is hurricane across the department store. And it's like, freak of nature, can't face a real woman without resorting to witchcraft. And Kitty's phasing through a wall. Let me do it, Storm. Let me handle it. No, Kitty. It's beneath all of us. And Xanda's like, I have armies at my disposal. Weapons that will drain your powers and grind you into dust. Get your finger out of my face. And if I don't... And the next panel you see Xanda has a painting smashed over her head. And Susan's like, you didn't break a nail, did you? No, I'm fine. I feel great, actually. And Kitty's like, maybe the security cameras got it on tape so we can watch it again. And one of the store employees is like, ice for your eye, madam? You're all witnesses. I'm going to sue. And so later that day, Storm's at the airport, I guess, picking up T'Challa. You're home. I didn't expect you back until... I had to cut our little excursion short. What's the expression? The road to hell is paved. Name her the thing? No problems? Believe it or not, no. A testament to your calming influence. Right. I really missed you. You have no idea. So, ready to get home and get married? Never more ready. Next issue, the wedding. And so that is my plan to do. And I might leave... So, yeah, my next episode will be issue 18. And then I have 2 more Black Panther comics, but I think I will go back to my original plan of doing Uncanny X-Men 129 after that. And I don't know. I might do an Black Panther no spoilers mini episode. Well, mini episodes. Like, who knows? These episodes are getting slightly longer, but I don't know what my initial goal is. I mean, it'd be nice to hit 30 minutes, but like real podcasts are at least an hour. So I'm like, can I do an hour by myself? Like, maybe if I get more loose with the idea. And I'm seeing here we're at 35 minutes, so I think we're officially hitting our longest episode number, so that's nice. There's a weigh-ins or ad for the Weigh-ins Little Man movie that I definitely did not watch. Mail to the King, letters from Ed Ferris. Nope, Ed Ferris, I said it right, from St. Louis, Missouri. Guido Calderos, F.A., from Lima, Peru. Lactius Johnson. Oh, yeah, he included a photo. That's cute. And then next issue, Panther 18, Weddings and War in Wakanda. And it's actually the image of the wraparound cover that I'm currently looking at. So that's cool that it was a wraparound cover. So that was Black Panther 2005 issue 17. It was pretty great. And thank you so much for listening and following along. If you want to follow me, oh man, that's a great segue. a transition that will do Turtle Soup's Eric pretty proud. Except you just transition and don't call attention to it, but here we are. If you would like to follow me, you can go on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and to look for Jackal SIII. I just got another win tonight on Fortnite with my Jotaro, who I have stylized as a zombie Kitty Pryde. RoboCop's supposed to be coming soon, and I've been wanting this emote for the longest time with the RoboCop 2. What's his name? ED207 or something? But I passed on it for like the whole week he was here last time. It was a little irritating because like RoboCop turned 35 like back in June or July, and they did not bring it back. Which of my many complaints I have with the Fortnite item shop video, or whoever runs the stores, that they don't do natural tie-ins. Like Kratos hasn't come back and his game's out, which makes sense because they don't want to promote a different game, at the same time. But which I don't get that idea, because it's like, no, like people will hear Kratos is in the item shop and then they will come visit your game and maybe they will go right back. But at least they just spent like $20 on your game, so maybe that's a great idea. It's like how the Ghostbusters didn't come back for Halloween or Fort Nightmares, and looking into it, it's like, oh, because they just had their own Ghostbusters game that was it's called Spiritual something, I don't know, but it's essentially Dead by Daylight but with a ghost, which is a great idea for a Ghostbuster game. But I don't know if anyone ever played it. I definitely didn't look at reviews. I was like, oh, okay, that's what you're doing. Well, anyway, so that's coming. There's a winter skin coming that I believe is to tie in with the not the World Series, the World Cup, because I guess there's soccer winter skins, which at first I was like, and they were like super customizable, and I was like, oh, like I was immediately dismissive. But then talking to Walker D, I was like, well, if I can make myself a winter Kitty Pryde, I mean, I have a Kitty Pryde using Dynamo Dancer. Like I could role play as winter Kitty Pryde, like, because I want to say like there's 2 skins, female skins that, well, obviously, that I think I could turn to Kitty Pryde, but I'm like, well, let me see. So that should be a video I make eventually. The tabs were updated, which means it has to come out within the next week or 2. But then the season ends next Saturday. It's December 3rd, and like we have Thanksgiving this week, and which I gotta think, do I have any comic books that have Thanksgiving themes. I'm not sure. I think there's an Extreme X-Men, but gotta think about that. I got carried away there. Oh yeah, so Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, Jackal SIII, and you can follow the podcasts on Twitter as SNFWM and N spelt out there. And I guess I maybe should make an Instagram for the podcast. Maybe I do that during the upload of this. Stay tuned for that. And thank you again for listening. If you subscribe and give a 5-star review, I really appreciate it. I hope the podcast grow. And of course, we have the blog, shadowandflamewithmagic.com. With many of these, I'm probably like, I've reviewed these issues, and then it probably do me some good if I actually read those reviews instead of doing it again. But I like the idea of maybe listening to this, finding the blog post, and being like, oh, this guy either really has the same thoughts, or maybe things have changed. So maybe I'd treat myself to that. But thank you again for listening, and see you for episode 8, where we do issue 18 of Black Panther 2005. All right, everyone. Bye. And thanks for listening.